Okay, I think I'm good to go here. Alright, you know how this goes. I think this is working properly, because it's been a while since I've done one of these tier list videos, and at least the way that I did with the Total Drama one, which was like a year and a half ago. I don't remember. But yeah, you know how it goes. Tier list video. This one is Sly Cooper. I was going to make this one long video, but I just could not do it. Not that it was like, oh wow, that's a lot of editing. No, I just still didn't want the video to be too long, and it could at least just be its own separate thing. So the two videos that I'll be talking about, the first one, which is this one, we'll be doing characters of Sly Cooper, but it mostly ranges from, you know, pretty just major characters, so like anyone to do with the Cooper gang, the Sly ancestors, at least the playable ones, and pretty much every major villain within the story in their own episode. So yeah, and then the one after that, the next tier list will be of episodes, like entirely. So every episode from each game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And hopefully, this is like my third time trying to record this, and I don't become too long-winded, and I just get straight to the point with each person here, and don't drag on for too long. Unless you like the background audio, then hey, thanks for listening, I guess. Anyway, I do not really do things differently, but you know, add my own spin to it. We got E for bad, whatever for D, not bad / okay for C, cool for B, A for awesome, and then greasy sweet for S. And we might as well start with our first one. And these are in order of like, well, it just goes from like Cooper gang members and then just like major villains in order of like games. We'll start off with our good old cartoon raccoon, good old Sly Cooper. I love Sly. He's genuinely one of my favorite characters in terms of literally anything, and there's only one other character that like tops him. Only one. For those who know, you know. For those who don't, I implore you to try and guess. But yeah, I love Sly. He's great in pretty much every way. He makes the story the way that it is. I love his charm, his attitude, and everything. You know, why he's a thief and all that fun stuff. So yeah, Sly is pretty kick-ass, and well, we're already gonna have another S tier. Like the S tier is actually gonna be filled up pretty easily, and the next one is that of Bentley. Bentley is fucking awesome in terms of everything. Like in some cases, I might consider him better than Sly, but I just like Sly because, you know, he's always just like the face of the series. But Bentley is also really cool. I still can never get over the fact that he unfortunately gets paralyzed from the waist down, but then gameplay-wise, he somehow becomes, you know, twice as mobile, if not 3 times as mobile, with the wheelchair and the boosters and thrusters added to it. That's just real fun. And then not only that, like, he practically just invented character development. I just jokingly say that, but it's just really cool to see him go from, like, a guy who did not want to, like, really interact with the outside world. Like, he was practically a hermit because, you know, he just didn't want to do anything. He didn't mind helping Sly, but like, oh dude, step outside that van or hideout, that was illegal. No thank you. And then by like the third game, he has like no problem coming up with these absolutely just devious schemes to just like fuck with people. It's very good. I love Bentley. And then we have Murray, but unfortunately I will not put him in the S tier to complete the trifecta. I will put him in awesome. Murray's pretty similar to Bentley, to where you know, he knows that he, I didn't mention this for Bentley, but, like, at least both of them know that they can't be like the other. So Bentley knows that he's not like Sly. He can't climb ropes, jump on, like, tight ropes and everything. He can't do all that stuff. And Murray was the same way. You know, he's not as agile, he's not as smart, but if there's one thing he knows how to do, is find a way to kick your ass 9 ways a Sunday. That will be one thing that he can do. But other than that, they don't really push it too much, say like with Bentley, because, you know, he gets like his own arc and a half within the second game. Again, they try to do some with the fourth, but they didn't really do that. And the same thing for Murray. They tried doing something in Thieves in Time, and it's just like, okay, this literally doesn't make any sense. This is not necessarily character development. I hate it. So yeah, Murray overall though, I like him. Goes from like a tumbling, bumbling numbnut to a guy who can fucking kick your ass. And I mean, he's a hippo. Hippos are really violent if you know anything about that. But next, not necessarily member of the Cooper gang, but just a strong ally from time to time. That being Carmelita Montoya Fox. I like Carmelita. Hashtag not a furry. But, yeah, she's good. I don't think there's really anything to complain about. I never really mentioned it within my reviews whatsoever, but I honestly don't give a shit that they constantly keep switching her voice actress. I really don't mind. Quite frankly, I find it to be really funny, and if anything, I want them to keep just doing that, not gag necessarily, but just trying to keep doing that over and over again, to where she just never has the same voice consecutively. I just think that would just be funny. I don't know why. That would be a massive headache for other fans, but I think it's funny. But character-wise, I mean, there's nothing really to complain about Carmelita. She's just a good, like, foil and, I guess, like, comedy duo, you could call it, when it comes to Sly. You know, she's just always there at the scene of the crime at the last minute or so, and then she essentially at least still gets, like, the rewards and everything. It's surprising that, like, she never catches Sly, but she catches, like, other criminals who are just as worse, if not, like, awful than Sly. And, you know, she doesn't really get promoted. It took beating Neela and capturing Sly, and I guess, like, stopping an entire Paris invasion for her to nearly get promoted. So, that's cool. Anyway, yeah, Carmelita's awesome. The Guru, our first, like, new member that we get within the series. I would put him in cool, but if I'm being honest, there's really not too much to him. You know, he's, outside of just, not understanding him, literally ever, there really isn't too much for him. Like, there really isn't. The game doesn't go too in-depth about, like, you know, what he is, what he likes, what he does. He's basically just, like, this guy that we meet, and he's just cool. Murray just says, like, he's cool, so why not just have him on the team? Like, he could help us here and there, and that's just really about it. And even gameplay-wise, there's nothing too, like, unique about it. Like, yeah, sure, it's just fun taking the guards and then just running them into, well, basically anything that you want to. That's fun. But other than that, there's really not too much. But he's not awful. Like, he's just fine. He does his job. Penelope. Hey. Oh, wait. Hey. There we go. I like Penelope. She's a cute little mouse nerd. I like everything about her. And what I like even more about her is just all the weird, like, things that you realize about her when you either replay it or just think about it. As in, like, when she was the Black Baron, apparently she just had 10 years of fisticuffs underneath her belt. Like, I genuinely don't know if that's true or not, but just the fact that she might know it is really funny, or the fact that she killed Lafouille and nobody had any qualms about it whatsoever. It's just like, yeah, you just killed a pirate. Yeah, whatever, though. I got a boyfriend. And then just any scene to do with her trying, and I mean trying, to flirt with Sly has to be the most uncomfortable thing for him imaginable, which I find really funny. Like, I really like it. It just gives nothing but a smile to me. And then Sly's just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then she realizes, yeah, Sly's kind of hot, but you know what's even hotter? A guy who could spell ASCII, and that's why she goes for Bentley. I think that's really cool. I like that. Next is the Panda King. He is pretty dope. He has such a comic book villain origin of wanting to be a fireworks artist, gets shunned by, like, the people he wanted to impress, and he uses that spite and hate to become a good fireworks artist, but he just uses it for, like, destruction and revenge, essentially. That has to be, like, I'm genuinely thinking that's probably, like, the most comic book villain type origin in this entire series, and it fits perfectly because it's just really nice. Probably explains, like, why he was supposed to be, like, the first, villain or Fiendish 5 member you were actually supposed to go against. At least that's what I constantly keep hearing, and why China itself as a level is very easy, but we'll get to that when I get to that. But, yeah, and in the third game, I like how they don't necessarily, like, go the route of, like, oh, the Panda King was sad, therefore we can redeem him. They're just like, no, yeah, he killed people, but we're not necessarily, like, absolutely saints or anything. We're all criminals, thieves, and convicts, essentially. Might as well just work with each other to get something out of it. You know, it's literally just a deal on why he's on the team, and that's just about it. And even Sly constantly keeps saying, yeah, I don't trust this dude 100%, and I don't think I ever will, but if he's gonna help me, fine, whatever. I'll just suck it up and deal with it, and then just go our separate ways. So, yeah, I like the panicking. He's dope. Alright, Dimitri needs no fucking explanation on why he needs to be in the S tier. Dimitri is just stupidly brilliant as a character. Anything and everything he does is just fucking genius. I love him. Now, I don't know if any of you guys know him or just remember for like hardcore fans, but McSweeney. And for those who know, you might be thinking, wait, why is he even on the tier list? He's basically just nothing but this expedition that is just used to drive what the third game is in the first place. And you'd be absolutely right. But there is a comic that ties the second game to the third game, like what happens in between and everything, and slightly explains like where Murray gets the whole idea to like leave and what happens to Bentley after he gets paralyzed. And also in between that is Sly meeting McSweeney, as he said in the third game. And he actually has a character there. You know, he just wasn't said like, oh yeah, just go to this island. No, he actually cares that Sly's well and alive and everything, and he genuinely wants to help him. You know, he's just this hardcore criminal, essentially, that's locked up in, like, who knows, like, what his sentence is. Like, for all we know, this guy probably could have, like, murdered some people. But he's nothing but, like, a big teddy bear, essentially. So, that's pretty dope. He's gonna be our first person in B tier. Ryoichi. Is our first ancestor that we meet. He is just painfully okay, and I had to put painfully because I thought there was going to be more to him, but unfortunately they just kind of make him out to be like, oh, you know, what's his character essentially? Oh, he just basically likes bragging that he's a ninja, just subtly, very subtly, of course. Like, oh yeah, I can do it because I'm a ninja. Oh yeah, jumping point A to point B, I can do it because I'm a ninja. Alright, what else is there? Oh, nothing? Okay. And then even gameplay-wise, I was hoping they would make him a little bit more unique, but they just said, Ninja Spire Jump for Sly. But for Ryoichi, the guy who invented it, Ninja Spire Jump, but long distance. You see? You see how that's intuitive? You see how that's, like, mind, like, breaking? You would never see that shit coming. But other than that, yeah, Ryoichi's just whatever, I suppose. He's just okay. Now, Tennessee, though, is actually really fucking dope. I like Tennessee. He is the best ancestor that we got in this entire, like, Thieves in Time fiasco, if you can call it. I really like him. Just the episode Go West, Young Raccoon is just a very fun, kick-ass episode. I really like it in terms of everything. Like, if you just kind of shut off your brain and don't really care about the story too much and just want to play the game, it's got really good gameplay. Like, Cooper for Hire, that is probably, like, the best job in that entire game. Because you get the first play as Tennessee, and it's just so fun. So much fun, man. I love it so much. And even gameplay-wise, like, I'm glad they didn't just take, you know, Carmelita's gun gameplay and just stapled it onto Tennessee. No, he has his own unique way of firing, or at least his own way of doing things. I like that. And then just character-wise, you know, he's not like an asshole. He's humble and stuff. He knows, like, when to, like, take charge or to back off. He's a good guy. Really good guy. We're just gonna place him there. Awful fucking character. Anyway, Sir Gallup, he is also just okay. I don't know why they took the route of making him a lot more dramatic than what he is, or basically making him into a thespian. I'm not really sure. I don't remember reading that in the Thievius Raccoonist whatsoever about him being, like, into, you know, theater arts or whatever, but, I mean, he's entertaining for what he does, and, you know, his catapult crash is actually not too bad of an ability. I like it and everything. And he has, like, these other abilities that just never get used, or, like, you don't have to use them. Like, he can pull out a shield. Like, what? I'm surprised that never got used. It's a cool ability, and they just never use it, or they don't make you use it. That would have been dope. I would have liked that. I don't even know what it does half the time. For all I know, it could probably, like, block or reflect projectiles, but I don't bother with it. Oh, well, whatever. Sir Galith, he's just okay. Salim. He is just whatever. You know, he's a little bit more of that negative side, where it's just, like, the more that I experience with him, see from him, and play as him, the less I like, unfortunately. And it's not that, oh yeah, I really wanted to play Salim. That would have been awesome. Granted, I don't know why they, like, I mean, you know, it's just, like, the time period that they went to. They went to the era, or, like, the time where he was an old man, and he was no longer, like, the absolute Chad Thundercock that he was within, like, the Thievius Raccoon is with, like, when he was built and shit, unfortunately. All that muscle just vanished from him when he just went into retirement, or when he reached 50, I suppose, but whatever. Salim just doesn't really have too much going for him. He just complains a lot. That's just really it. And, like, that's cool, or, like, funny for the first couple of times that he just, like, bitches and moans and, like, wants to take a nap. I get it, but when you hear for, like, the 13th time, even on replay, it's just like, oh, that's kind of annoying. And gameplay-wise, he has, like, the worst ability that there probably could be. Well, Bob, like, is fucking awful. That's why he's in the E tier, but Salim is just climb fast. That's it. Yeah, not really all that good. Alright, so now we go on to villains. And the first one that we get is Raleigh from the first game. And as the first person we go against as the Fiendish 5, he is... I would just say, like, he's at the bottom of C. I don't want to put him in, like, just whatever, because, like, I mean, he's just the first guy, but he is just okay. Very, very okay. Because, you know, compared to, like, I guess I might as well just do it right now. Miss Ruby, like, she's whatever. Like, I think she's kind of, like, one of the weaker members of the Fiendish 5, because there's not much to her in terms of, like, character. But Raleigh, like, he's literally just a rich dude that got bored and said, like, I think I'll just pillage today. And that's it. Like, that's all there was to it. Like, I mean, alright, fine, you got the money to do it. No one's really gonna stop you. You know, besides the fucking authorities and Sly, of course. But, hey, you do you, man. If that's what he wanted to do, I guess good for him. But, he's not awful. I like his speech pattern. Like, if you go back and just, like, listen to how he talks, it's so odd, because he'll start talking like this, and then start yelling like that out of nowhere. It just feels so weird. I don't know why, but it's kind of funny when you rewatch it, or just, like, really listen to what he says. Whatever, though. Raleigh's just like, okay. Mugshot, though, is actually really fucking cool. I really like Mugshot. He's, I kind of like his origin story. It's not to the same level as, like, the Panda King, where it's just like, oh, he took the spite and hatred and became a villain. Mugshot is a little bit more sympathetic because, like, yeah, he was genuinely picked on and bullied as a child, and instead of, like, really using that anger and hate, like, at least the way that Sly made it out to be, he wasn't angry or, like, pissed off. No, he was just like, okay, if you don't want to get your ass beat every day, you might want to do some, like, you know, physical training or genuinely do something about your life. And he was inspired to do that, and yeah, he did it. I think it's just the idea that he took it too far, and then he literally became the big dog and just kind of took power to another level and took over an entire city. So yeah, it was one of those things where I'm guessing power went to his head, and also no muscle went to his legs, because this motherfucker literally walks on his knuckles. This dude is the pure definition of skip leg day. And I thought Gear 4th Luffy was bad, but no, Mugshot takes that to a competitive level. Those arms are jacked. Yet, in his boss fight, which is quite the difficulty spike if I'm being honest, all he ever uses are guns. Like, that's crazy. He has all the muscle in the world, yet he uses guns. That's crazy. Maybe it's because, like, it's the gangster style to just, like, put a bullet in someone's head. But, yeah, Mugshot's pretty cool. And even when he comes back in the third game, I like him for... I don't know how it goes from Mesa City all the way to Holland for a dogfight competition, but hey, maybe he found that to be gangster as well. But, next we have the big baddie. The guy who basically makes the whole series, besides Sly. That being Clockwork. This might be the hardest one to do, honestly. Because I'm gonna put him in S. I know some people don't really, don't like Clockwork because we don't know much about him. But that's why I really like him. It's the fact that compared to every other villain, at least in the first game, and even like afterwards actually, so jumping ahead, we know like where they come from. Like Sly always gives us the rundown as like, okay, this is where they came from, this is how they started, this is why they're doing it, and we gotta go stop them. For pretty much every single one of them possible, except for Clockwork. Clockwork is the only one that Sly just says, I have no information about him, and he's basically just this walking horror. He's this living nightmare that just shouldn't be real, but he is. I don't know why people don't find that horrifying. I would find that horrifying if, like, you know, there just happens to be this serial killer that is only going after your family because you exist, essentially. And nobody is ever stopping him. How is that not, like, fucking crazy, dude? Clockwork is just so fucking crazy. I love him for that reason. He's just such a delight to just talk about. I love him. But, moving on to the second game, that is. Since I already did Dimitri, he's up there. He gets our S place. Rajan. I mean, quite frankly, there's really not too much to say about Rajan, if I'm being honest. Like, he is fine. I guess in comparison to Dimitri, it's pretty hard to compare to, Dimitri's, eccentric style and everything. When it comes to Rajan, he's a lot more, like, toned down and mellowed. You know, it's surprising that it's said that, like, he has a big ego and stuff, but he doesn't really show it off as much. Like, he really doesn't. He's probably one of the more sane and calm members of the Claw Gang. Like, that's really it. He just kind of minds his own business and nobody really bothers him. He just wants to flex. That's it. That's all he just likes doing, and that's why he had the ballroom, and that's why, like, he shipped drugs and spices and stuff. But other than that, there's really not much to Rajan. I like his boss fight where he just says, like, oh, this is what I've been fearing the entire time. Well, this ain't shit. And then he still gets his ass kicked. So that's really funny. But, moving on to the Contessa. I won't put her in awesome. She's a good villain. I like the Contessa. She's rather interesting because, one thing I've noticed is that compared to all the other Claw Gang members, or really any, well, no, I wouldn't say that, because even Mugshot knows about, like, the Cooper Gang, because, you know, he was fucking there, of course, when he killed Sly's dad. So, that goes for the other Fiendish 5 members. But for the Claw Gang specifically, and even Neela, they don't really give a shit on, like, why Sly is taking the Clockwork pieces. Like, I have this picture, maybe I can show it up on screen, but, like, imagine it from Dimitri's point of view where, like, you're just trying to mind your own business, literally trying to run a business and stuff. You're doing some illegal stuff on the side, but we can talk about that later. And then out of nowhere, everything that you have is just, like, breaking and literally falling apart. And then, like, this raccoon motherfucker just shows up, beats the shit out of you, and just steals your shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, from Dimitri's point of view, it's just like, man, what happened? I didn't ask for this. What the hell? Like, he doesn't know why Sly is doing it. Probably because he actually doesn't understand him. But from the Contessa, she knows why Sly is doing it. She knows about the Cooper clan, as she says. And she just gives it to him. She says, like, oh, you're just, like, you're basically just some kid playing dress-up or playing superhero in your father's legacy that you probably can't even, like, actually obtain. You suck a dick, pretty much. And, I'm gonna kill you for that. So, yeah, the Contessa is really nice. She doesn't really even play any games. She'll straight up kill you if she gets the chance of doing so. And it wouldn't be hard for her position to just, like, cover up you know, a death by her hand, because, you know, she works for Interpol and the police, essentially. I'm pretty sure on a global scale, and, you know, she's got her degree, so she knows what she's talking about. She's pretty smart as well. So, yeah, Contessa's nice. John Bisson, though, damn, this is kind of hard, actually. B or C? Because, like, John Bisson, like, he's cool. He's got that sympathetic side to him. I'll put him down for now. He's got the sympathetic side to him, but it's like, other than that, there's really not much to him. Like, he's just this Canadian lumberjack, and that's just really about it. And the sympathetic side I'm talking about is that even Sly would have mentioned is that if back in his day, you know, where he's from, essentially, before he got frozen nearly to death, but thawed out years and decades later, you know, he would have been seen like a thumbs-up good dude, like a good righteous citizen, essentially, trying to, like, help people. But now, I don't even know how, like, they don't really explain how he got wrapped up in the spice business, like, shipping drugs and all that stuff, and how he ended up with, like, a good fair share of the Clockwork parts of, like, the 2 lungs and stomachs. Like, that's fucking weird. Like, we don't know how that happened. But, other than just that, there's really not too much about John Bisson. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it. Because before I did this list, and I put him in B, but now that I'm saying it out loud, he's kind of just okay. Like, he's not awful, but he's just okay. But someone who is, unfortunately, pretty bad, but I don't want to put him in bad, is Apeggio, because he was made to be, like, the mastermind behind it all. It's like, oh, this is the guy who was, like, pulling all the strings. He's in charge of the Claw Gang. He's the one who wanted Clockwork's pieces and everything. He wanted to even rebuild Clockwork, but that doesn't really go anywhere. And even Sly, like, just straight up says, you mean to tell me that you sent me on a global goose chase to get back the pieces of my mortal enemy so you could rebuild him just because you were pretty much physically disabled? That is fucking stupid and pathetic. Like, Sly just says, like, that is pathetic, bro. And the way that I said that, Apeggio, like, he's a bird that can't do the one thing a bird can do. He can't fly. Motherfucker can't fly. He is physically disabled, essentially, in their world. And he is trying to bring back, like, this notorious psychopathic serial killer, like, robotic bird just so he can take that body because he can't fly. Like, it feels weird saying that out loud, but that's what Apeggio wanted. And apparently it goes a step further of wanting immortality, but it's just like, I thought this was just because you couldn't fly. Where does immortality come from? I guess it's the idea is just like, oh, Clockwork was essentially immortal? I mean, that wouldn't be too bad too, why not? It's like a bonus, the Platinum Edition, essentially. But, there's, like, really not too much from Apeggio. Probably from the fact that, you know, he, fucking dies. He gets eaten by Neela and stuff. But I've said this in my review, I implore you to watch this one animation that was done by this person on YouTube. I can have it up on screen and links below and stuff. It shows it from Apeggio's point of view, and, like, it really gets into it. And you kind of feel bad from him. Because, like, I just shit on him, basically, for just having a stupid plan. But at least from that, like, small animation, it shows, like, actually, he probably wasn't too bad of a guy. Or at least that's what they could have made him out to be. Like, he wasn't too awful. He was kind of good. Yeah, Apeggio is, like, he's definitely, like, the weakest member of the Claw Gang, unfortunately. And that says a lot for being the leader, too. Neela. She probably has, like... Actually, she's probably, like, worse than Clockwork on how I can place her. Because some people will just straight up say, like, dude, she's fucking awful. But the weird thing is that that's kind of why I like her. Like, Neela is the one villain that takes being, like, a cunt and a bitch to a competitive level. Like, she just says, like, hey, if you're gonna hate people, hate everyone equally. Like, just straight up give the middle finger to everyone and only look out for yourself. She is such a fucking bitch, but that's kind of why I like her. It's one of those things where it's just like, damn, how far can she just take this? How far is she willing to just screw everyone over for her own benefit. I just like seeing that. If you're not into that sort of thing, yeah, she's kind of a bitch. Like, not a good one at that as well. So it just kind of depends. I like her up until, like, I don't even know why this is a slot itself. Clockwork. I don't think I really need to, like, go too in-depth about, like, why this is stupid. But, yeah. It's, like, one of the most left out of nowhere things that I've seen in this series, like up to that point, and maybe even a little bit beyond, counting the third game. It's just like, okay, I get that she just wants to just fuck everyone over. You know, she's just doing that because I guess she just has the free time to do it. Fine, whatever. But the whole thing of just like wanting Clockwork's body is just weird. I think it's just one of those power hungry and driven things where it's just like, hey, like, might as well just take it to the top and just, you know, do what Apeggio says. Like, oh, you can become immortal? Fine, fuck it, why not? Sure. I like playing Valorant. That's cool. So, yeah, but other than that, like, the whole Clockwork thing was just not really good. In terms of just everything, just, like, how it represents Clockwork as a threat, because the boss fight, going into the boss fight itself, gameplay-wise, was, stupid. Okay, well, I don't want to say it's stupid as in like, oh wow, I hate playing this gameplay-wise and fundamentally. It's that story-wise, it's just like, oh wow, this is basically a watered-down version of what the first boss was like, but a little bit worse. Like, that kind of sucks, unfortunately. Now we're into the third game. Don Octavio is kind of baller. I really like him. Actually, all of Venice as an episode, and Opera of Fear is genuinely one of my favorite episodes in the entire series, and I think it's like the best first episode out of all of the games that there could be. It's just so fun. I love an Opera of Fear, and Don Octavio, he really makes it. I like him. He kind of has that, like that comic book villain type origin where it's just like, oh, darn, you know, I can no longer perfect my craft at what I was good at, got fucked over for it, and now I'm, like, doing some shady shit or, like, getting revenge on the people who didn't necessarily support me to begin with. Granted, you know, the people who do support him are, like, apparently, like, his loyal fans or people who do genuinely enjoy opera, but, like, it's so weird how, like, those people who enjoy opera are apparently part of the fucking mafia, and that's why they made him the Dawn. That is so funny, just saying that out loud. But, I like that. Don Octavio is, like, he's genuinely, like, a cool villain, and, you know, he doesn't, like, back down when the Cooper gang just constantly keeps messing with him. He just eventually says, like, alright, fuck it, bring it. Like, fight me right here and now. And that's when Murray comes back. So, yeah. Don Octavio, he's cool. I like him as a villain. Okay, so, the Mask of Dark Earth, I'm not gonna put it in bad, because it's not even essentially a character. These last couple of ones, like, don't worry, like, if this video's getting a little too long for you guys, I'll speed run through these last ones, because they're not hard to determine. But the Mask of Dark Earth is, it's not awful, it's just whatever, because there's literally no character to it. It's basically just this evil spirit. Like, there's nothing to it. It has no personality. It doesn't talk. It runs away like it's a Scooby-Doo villain or monster, and that's really it. They probably could have done something with it, but they really don't. Even Bentley, like, even in, like, one of those, when he's doing, like, the PowerPoints and the slideshows, when he talks about the Mask of Dark Earth, he's just like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, we've dealt with some darker shit. Anything to do with the Contessa was worse and, like, more creepy. Like, this mask thing? Yeah, no, this is nothing. And the same thing goes for the Black Baron. It's just whatever. You know, it's not bad. It's just whatever, because it doesn't matter, because it's just Penelope. Like, it doesn't matter. Now, General Sao, though, oh man, I like Sao. He is such a motherfucker. He's basically the Neela of this game, but he doesn't extend throughout the entire game. He's just confined in just episode 4, and man, is he such a dastardly bastard. He's so fucking, like, just evil and just awful. The shit he says and does is just so... it's just delightfully evil. It's one of those things where it's just like, damn, this guy is fucking awful. But the fact that he's just so bad is what makes him good. It's one of those things. He plays his part perfectly. Even Sly, not even counting Clockwork because he mentions that he's just a monster. Sly just straight up says, like, out of every person that I have faced and I have fought in, that I have, like, dealt my life against, you are the absolute worst motherfucker that there could be. And Sal takes it in so much pride. He's like, good, fine, I am the worst. And guess what? I can be even fucking terrible sometimes. And you're about to see. I like Sal. He's so good. Moving on, though, to Lafouille. Unfortunately, there's really not much to him, and I realize this is that I think him and the Mask of Darker, they don't have, like, they're never shown in an animated cutscene, like the cartoon-type cutscenes, never, because he's not shown in the introduction to Episode 5 of Dead Man Tells No Tales, and he just dies at the end of it. You don't even see his body, like, he just fucking dies. But, he's kind of whatever. Like, he's really just whatever. I don't know if I want to put him at the bottom. Yeah, actually, yeah, let's do this. I'll put it like this. He's a better pirate than Raleigh. That's for sure. Because at least that dude takes being a pirate seriously. Raleigh's just like, oh, people do this? Yeah, sure, why not? Whatever. Lafouille, though, is like, yeah, no, he's a genuine pirate. And even, like, the Cooper gang somewhat does fear him. It's just like, no, this dude just isn't playing. Like, that peg leg just isn't for show. He is an actual killer. He's a pirate. He'll pillage. He'll kill if he wants to. So, yeah, he's pretty dangerous. But other than that, there's really not much to him other than constantly trying to brag that he's better than you, but constantly getting his ass handed to him in more ways than one, like verbally and physically. But, yeah, whatever, though. Dr. M. Ooh, what do I do with him? I don't know if I want to say that he's awesome. No, I'll say he's awesome, actually. Like, he's a good villain for, like, what happens in the story and stuff. And I know some people don't like it, just like, it doesn't make any sense of, like, you know, him trying to, like, sway Bentley or Murray for being second fiddle. I don't mind it, because, you know, Bentley only thinks about it for a hot minute, and Murray's just like, bro, you're actually thinking about that? Like, whatever. That you know that's not how Sly would do things, and you know that's not how we would do things if he was in our position, even. And Bentley's like, yeah, you're right. So, they don't buy that bullshit from Dr. M for more than 2 minutes. Maybe 1, but not 2 at least. And then other than that, Dr. M he doesn't give a shit. He'll kill if he needs to. He was introduced of, like, killing his own, not co-worker, but someone that worked under him. And when he meets Sly in the inner sanctum, he's just like, yeah, I'm just here to, like, probably choke you to death, or burn you, or drown you, or electrify you. Just any way to meet your demise possible. And he just doesn't care. And he gets himself killed due to his own greed. I like that, you know, he's kind of I don't even know what you want to describe him. He's just such a crazy guy. But now we've moved on to the last members, and these are pretty much all the villains from Thieves in Time. And I'll speed run through this because this video is getting long enough as it is. El Jefe is actually not too bad. I like him. He's pretty good. Toothpick, not good. The Grizz, I like his voice at least. He's good. The Black Knight, fuck him. No. Miss Decibel is also not too bad. We'll place her, like, right there. We'll put... I like El Jefe more than Rajan. He's a better tiger. And then La Paradox is also just fucking awful. So, yeah, I think that's about it. My throat is starting to hurt, because right after this, I'm immediately going to record the episodes, and that's going to be painful. Well, maybe I'll give myself a break, but let me see if I need to actually make any changes here.
12 seconds later.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. That was a good waste of time thinking there, so I've definitely said my pieces about what I think about each character here. We got the greasy sweet, the awesome, the cool, the not bad and okay, the whatever, and then bad. So, yeah. The people who are bad, besides, like, Clockla, I don't need to explain why they're bad. Like, they're just bad. They're so bad that they speak for themselves. They're bad at being bad. Except for Bob. Like, I fucking hate him, actually. Like, I genuinely despise that character. But, yeah, enough shitting on Thieves in Time, as always, like it's my job. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know what to do with all the links that I provide and everything of the sort. Thank you for watching. That's greatly appreciated, of course. Have a great day. Have a great night. Everything else, you know what to do. Bye.